Hey everybody. I wanted to set the record straight on some things because there's a lot of people have been sending me inbox messages, emails, texts, and I want to make it clear to what's really going on so it makes a little bit more sense to you. I want to thank you all for your encouragement and your support. It's been a rough 4 years, God, 4 years of dealing with this. So hopefully after you watch this video, you will understand a little bit more about what's been going on. So let's start with 2010 real quick. 2010, we were making plans to do some things in 2011. So we had decided we're going to do some renovations on the house. My oldest son would be graduating high school. I would be celebrating with my husband 20 years of wedding anniversary, or our wedding anniversary, and be 25 years out of high school. So I planned on going to my reunion. So we had a lot of milestones that we had planned, which I've learned don't plan too far ahead because things can change. So 2011 comes, January, and actually, before that, December, we decided to get a small loan to do the renovations for the house. So we didn't have to use credit cards and all that. We would just pay directly towards, towards that loan. And chances we probably wouldn't have to use all of it. We would just use what we needed. So we did get a little bit done. But then when January came, Anthony got let go from his job. So probably not the smartest thing, but we used the loan to help take care of some other things. We kept it in residual in case we needed it. And Anthony started looking for a job. He applied for his unemployment benefits because he was entitled to that. And he was selling a little bit of art at the time. I was grateful for that because at the time of this, I was not getting as much work through the organization I worked for. Basically, working for a nonprofit, those of you who do know, is grant funded and also funded by contributors. So a lot of our contributors were not contributing for their own, good reason. At the time, the market had changed. Many of them had been taken by Madoff. We were heavily supported by people out in Palm Beach, and a lot of them had their money tied up with Madoff. So many, like a lot of them, lost large amounts of money. So that was going on. So we were trying to figure out, okay, we need to start bringing down costs in the house. So we changed plans on different things we were using, our phones, or we were reducing how we were using our um, lighting in here and all that stuff. And someone said, you need to do a loan modification on your home. So before I mention that, those of you who may not know, I do know a little bit about financial planning. I know about debt consolidation. We had to do debt consolidation prior to getting the home to make sure that all our debt was cleaned up, which we did. And actually, when I joined the debt consolidation program, I actually revised the program to make it quicker for us. So I was extremely conservative about the way our finances were going in and out of the house. My dad, if those of you don't know, wanted me to be an accountant, so I understand a lot about, making sure your finances are in order. So that's why we did have money saved. We had money saved. The goal, what's told, make sure you have 6 months of money saved in case something happens. You know, I'm going to let you know now, unless you have a second job, unless you are a multi-billionaire, there is never enough planning you can do. You have to have a plan B, a plan C, a plan D. I did the basic plan B. And that what plan B was supposed to be for is that Anthony would be able to get another job, find another job that would pay him, if not equivalent, moderately equivalent to what he was getting paid before. He couldn't find anything. He was either overqualified or they just were not paying enough. And the thing about people who see someone who is making XYZ amount of money is that their fear is that once another job comes around in their mind, he's going to leave them and go to another job. Understandable. Doesn't help us. So anyway, March, we decide we're going to apply for a modification. So I went through the whole paperwork process. I understood how it was done, crunched the numbers, sent them the paperwork. And it was like, I don't hear anything. So what's going on? Didn't know that they never received it. So when we were calling them, they claimed they never received the paperwork. Mistake number one. So I went ahead and started the process again. Now, mind you, now we're in the summertime. To get people to assist you in the summertime is impossible, just about. But we went through the process again. By August, Anthony started not looking healthy. He started not feeling well. He was losing a lot of weight. He was increasingly thirsty and hungry. By September, my mother-in-law and I made him go to the hospital, and we found out when they admitted him that day that he was a type 2 diabetic and probably had been that for the course of that year. And had we not gotten him there, literally he could have been dead in another couple of days. That's how high his sugar was. That's how sick he was. So he was on unemployment. He had unemployment. So he got his first check while he was in the hospital. He was in the hospital for 3 weeks. So he could not apply for his benefits. When he got back home, finally, he went online and he let them know, because you have to do it online. Those of you, I don't know if they do it like this now, but back then, and back then it's only 4 years ago, you had to do it all online. There was nobody to talk to. There was no way. Like, I used to be able to call in or go on the computer. This way, it was only the computer. There was nobody to talk to. So he said he was sick and was unable to look for work. Well, that red flagged them. So he did not get his next check, and money was dwindling. So by October, we weren't able to pay our mortgage by the 1st, so it would have been late. So by the end of the month, we were extremely late and didn't have the money to do it. And then by December, we weren't able to get the money in. So we were like, oh God, we have not paid our mortgage in 3 months. January, I tried to pay something. They wouldn't take it. And then that's when the process started getting crazy. We were doing this modification. People seem to have thought that I don't know, they thought we were dumb, or we didn't know what we were doing. We would send it in, and those of you who don't know, we do not have a place to go to drop off the paperwork and sit and talk to somebody. It's all done fax. Not even digitally, fax. You cannot digitally send any paperwork. You have to send it all via fax. So we had a friend of ours who's a real estate agent. And I think she even thought, they don't know what they're doing. I've done so many of these, I'll take care of it for you. Which was great, because the time that I did have to work, I knew that she would be able to get this done. And she started seeing that there was something not right. By last year, 2014, another person took over because the young lady who was handling it with us got sick. And actually, the woman that was doing it for us happened to work for the same company, the bank portion of the mortgage company. Her boss, who's the president of our branch downtown, had her deal with the paperwork. So she sent the paperwork, and this started in, I say, September. They gave her the runaround. She couldn't understand what was going on. So people started seeing that it wasn't us. They kept losing the paperwork. They kept coming up with all kinds of excuses. Time lapse. So by the time we get certain paperwork in, oh my goodness, you don't have this. So this, you have to resend the entire packet. And when I tell you the packet is somewhere upwards of 98 pages, and this includes front and back of all your bank statements. And there's an only a certain way they take the bank statements. So it was literally ridiculous. But we stuck it out. So by November, all the paperwork's in, no rejects. So I get a call from my main person who tells me, oh, I'm sorry, but you don't qualify. We don't qualify. We want to stay in our home. What do we need to do? Oh, you can reinstate your loan. That's what she tells me. So I ask her, back before we went into foreclosure, so in 2012, when we were not in foreclosure, could we have reinstated our loan? Oh, yes, absolutely. We had did a small campaign the first go around, and because they wouldn't take money. We didn't even know what we owed at this point. They would not take any money, and I know we had enough money raised. So one of the things that was recommended was that instead of trying to pay, take care of this portion, because now we're in the modification process, pay off some of your debt, because part of it is if you have less debt, you're more likely to get your modification approved. So that's what we did. Instead of, because again, the bank would not take the money, instead of paying towards something that I never knew I could do, which was reinstate the loan. Had we reinstated the loan, they would have taken the cash. If I'd have just said, please reinstate my loan, I wouldn't have known to do that. Why would I have known? That's not something that happens to people every day. So I paid off one of our major debts, which was our car payment and a credit card. So we still have some debt, but less debt than we started with. So we're thinking, okay, we'll have this part handled. To find out that now I can't even spit out what the foreclosure amount is. But we have to pay out the foreclosure to be able to reinstate our loan. And the other problem is that the original bank we started with is not the original bank that we're with. 2 banks later, different group of people, not located in Florida. The original bank is not located in Florida. So, needless to say, we have been fighting this battle for a long time. But I don't even feel vindicated, but I am glad that people started to see that we're not crazy. We've been trying to get this dealt with forever. So now I find that we go to court. We went to court in February, right in the middle of our art show. I had to suck it up and go to court to find out that we had 90 days to get this foreclosure situation handled, or they put up our house for sale June 4th. So I have people who are like, well, let it go up for sale and we'll figure it out. No, I can't figure it out. I got a family that needs to make sure that they got a place to stay. And there are other things that are tied into this. If I allow for the bank to own this house and resell it, there's another issue that I have that I'm not going to get into, but financially I can't afford to do that. So just me letting it go into foreclosure, let somebody buy the house, and then hopefully a friend will be able to buy it back for us. It's so complicated. I don't even want to get into that mess. I just want to pay the foreclosure off, get my loan reinstated, and then reapply for the modification. It's just so stressful. So Just so you all know, we have already applied for the hardest hit Florida. We have already done, we did it once before, it lapsed or whatever, and we were just too caught up in the modification process to really care about it. But an attorney friend of mine who's managing the case now recommended that we revisit the hardest hit. So we have an application in. I have about 7 more documents to send to them because some things had lapsed, because that's what happens. So where I had to get some paperwork today, and I got caught up in some business stuff. So in the morning, I'm gonna get the paperwork that they need, get it to them. That part is done. But those of you who know me know that I can't sit around and wait for a grant, because that's what that is, a grant, to be my only source of saving my house. So we're artists. Anthony and I are artists. I know you guys know this. So we were like, we want to sell art like we did before. And someone recommended GoFundMe. Now, it took everything in my being, and someone else told me you should have started this campaign back in January. Well, I was in the middle of a major art show in January. I really wasn't thinking about a GoFundMe account. And I'll be honest, I didn't even really want to do it. But someone just kept nudging at me, Trina, you've helped so many people between the arts that you do, between other things that you do. You know, there's a lot of stuff y'all don't even know that we do. And I didn't look at it like that, but I was just like, I'll just take a gamble and see what happens. It's not even about what I've done for other people or what Anthony has done for other people or what our son's done for other people. It was just about, I'll just take a leap of faith and do it. And that was very sweet that they said that. Also the local art community is doing a benefit on our behalf. And I didn't go and say, can y'all do a benefit for it? That would never even come in my brain to do that. I'm just grateful that they thought enough of us to even consider it. I just know that I got to meet a goal. Even if we're able to get an extension, which I don't know if that's likely to happen at this point, maybe. And then there's another thing that I was recommended to do, and I'm going to go possibly forward with that as well. But a lot of this, I'll be honest, is probably a little too late. I basically just need to get the money and take care of this. Not a bank robber. I am not I would never do anything illegal to get this handle. That's just not me. I wasn't raised that way. I just want it done, and I want to move on with our life. This has been 4 long years of chaos. It hasn't been easy for this family at all. We have been, I can't even begin to tell you. It's just been rough. And in the midst of all this, we managed to be able to pull off probably about 10 art shows in 4 years. And artists have sold work because of it, and people have been accepted into exhibitions because of them. So with all this going on, I haven't let it stop me. I just know that now I got to take care of us. So if you choose to contribute to the campaign, I appreciate it immensely. If you choose to attend the benefit, I appreciate it immensely. We also have a home show for pre-Mother's Day. If you come, that's great. Get your mother some art. Stop with all the, stuff out in the store. Start supporting some local artists. It doesn't have to be us. You can go and support someone else. But we actually have an event for that. We have a workshop for people who want to learn how to do those trees that Anthony do. So we have a lot going on in the midst of all this craziness. But I just wanted to be clear to everybody that we're not doing it to be shiesty. We just want a place to stay. Period. I need a place for my family. So, I hope it makes more sense to you now. Uh, if it doesn't, I don't know what more I can say because my jaw's hurting. I just know that we need this house. A lot of artists have exhibited their work here for the first time or revisited their art careers here. A lot of history has gone on here, and there's a lot more history I would like to build here. So that's basically what I need. So thank you for listening to me ramble, and hope to see you all soon. Peace.